Hey guys, it's me, Uncle Greg, aka the Free American Spirit. And today I'm out in the heartland of America. Just kidding, just out of the old country little highway here, so that hopefully some of this noise will die down and we'll be able to talk about the new electric bike. Now I just want to let you know that I'm doing this video free of charge. I'm not getting paid, number one, and number two, I'm just coming as an old guy, telling you why I bought this bike. I'm not a bike expert. I'm not going to get into an argument about the components, which ones are better and blah, blah, blah. So let's get into it. I picked this bike for a couple of reasons. One, it's a mid-range bike. What I mean by that, there's bikes anywhere from $500 to $5,000. For what I need it to do, run a couple miles into town, pick up some groceries, come back, whatever I want to do, up and down some hills. Nothing major, but we do have some hills here. It'll be just perfect, okay? This is from a company called Revolve, and I did a little, talking to the guy before I settled on this company, but his name is Tony, real nice guy. As a matter of fact, when I emailed him, he was in China. He said, hey, don't email me. I don't want to discuss business here because of their internet. And as soon as he got back, he called me up. We talked a little bit. I made the purchase or whatever. And it came in time, and everything he said he was going to do, he did. Now, I will tell you, during shipping, they dented the fender, and there's a little scratch there. I talked to him about that. He said, don't worry about it. Me and him are going to work something out. So let's get on to why I picked this bike and what I think about the bike. I drove it around the other day. I just got it the other day, and I drove it around. I've really had some fun with it. I can't believe that this guy behind me has a generator going and now a tractor's out. I sat here for an hour getting ready and not a sound. But anyways, the reason I picked this bike is because it has fat tires, and what that means is those big tires over there are 4 inches wide, and that adds a little bit of cushion. Obviously, it's got a kind of a cool looking little Harley seat there with the springs in it, but basically that's an old-timey spring seat. That gives a little bit of shock absorption. The front chopper forks, they have the suspension in them. I like that, so I wanted some comfort. It's a pretty well built bike. I believe it's an aluminum alloy. It could be a metal alloy, I really don't know, but the welds are all nice. It looks good. It's the post right here for the seat. I got a 30-inch inseam, so that is really low, but you can raise that way up, like if you're 6 foot tall. But that post is slanted, so your feet are forward, and that gives you a little bit better riding position. And also it's got the high handlebars, the ape hangers, whatever. Kind of reminds me of my childhood, the apple crates and cherry pickers, kind of that feel. And so that's why I got it. It looked pretty good, and it had, several components to make the ride a little softer. I wanted those handlebars because I want to sit up straight on a bike with my arms out, not, hunched over and hurting my back and whatnot. I got about 3 miles to go into town, up and back, up and down hills. This bike, I can either use the pedal assist. We'll do more in-depth videos what that means later, or I can use the thumb throttle up here and use no pedal assist, not even pedal at all. It's a 6-speed bike, just like if you got a 10-speed. You have a Shimano derailleur back there. That's the hub. It's 500 watts of power that powers this bike. It gets its instructions from that controller right there, and there's a metal ring behind that pedal. So when you pedal, depending on how you have it set, you can either pedal more or less, and it'll kick the battery in more or less depending on your settings. So if you want to pedal a lot and harder, you put it on setting 1. If you want to pedal less, you put it on setting 5, which also there's a setting for how fast it picks it up. In other words, if I'm going down the road and I want to pedal 2 or 3 times, I can set that sensor to pick up, like it won't kick the battery until 2 or 3 revolutions. If I want that sensor to pick it up immediately when I pedal, then I can do that as well. So you have the hub down here, which is the power. 500 watts is, I'm 250 pounds, gets me up and down all the hills pretty good. That's the control box. It's a 17 amp, 48 volt control center. This is the battery. To turn this bike on, you have an on and off switch. This is a charger port, okay? But you have to turn that on switch, or you can turn it off. And then on the other side, there's a key, which is really nice. The key is not to turn it on and off. The key is only to lock it to the frame. So on a lot of bikes, you have to have a key to actually turn it on, and then the key has to stay in there. This one, you can lock it to the frame, take it away. I like that. It has a nice kickstand built in, which is good. The seat is pretty comfy. It does come with lights. It comes with a backlight. So if I was to come up here and turn this thing on, which it is on, and I just want to hold this button for a minute and turn my lights on, you can see the backlight is on here, and the front light comes on. So I always like to ride with my lights on all the time. Let me go turn that back off. Another nice thing that I like about this bike is it does have hydraulic brakes. So not only does it have a suspension in the front, it has nice hydraulic brakes, which means they're easier to press. They squeeze more uniformly than just a cable one. That's a big upgrade. The fork is an upgrade in the prices range. That's nice. The battery pack is a 48 volt, 13 amp hours. So that's a lot of time running. They say you can get 20 to 40 miles on this bike, depending, how much you pedal. So, I haven't gone more than 3 miles up and back. That's 6 miles, but never had a problem so far. But I've only ridden it for 2 days. The front tires, like I said, are the 4-inch, and that's a 20-inch, and that's a 24-inch on the back. Also 4-inch wide, fat tire. But back to the brakes, that disc brake right there, that's 160 millimeters. So that is actually a little smaller than the one on the back, that's 180 millimeter on the front. That's a little larger than the one that's on the back. That's 160 millimeter, because if you've ridden motorcycles or bikes, you always kind of, if you're cruising along at 15, 20 miles an hour, which this bike will do, you start applying pressure on your front first, gets the bulk of it, and that takes a lot of the weight as you're, pushing into it, and then you apply the back too, because you don't want your back wheel sliding out from under you. So the main components of the bike are the hub, the controls, the battery, and that all works with this right here. This is the computer. You really can't see it right now because I got a lot of light showing on it. But the computer, through this control switch right here, you can change all kinds of things on there. You can limit the bike to 20 miles an hour. Like I said, on the pedals, you can not only tell the bike in pedal assist from 1 to 5, like how much you want the bike to help you. There's another setting that you can set that it'll tell the bike how quickly you want it to help you. So some people, want to pedal 5 or 6 revolutions before it kicks in, and some people, lazy like me, only want it to revolve 1 time before the motor kicks in. And there's all kinds of other little settings in there. I'll go through those more in detail later. It comes with this nice, imitation leather, or it might be real leather, but nice looking seat with matching grips on the handlebars. Okay, this is a bell. Going down a bike rack, you got to do that. Not the manliest thing in the world for Uncle Greg, but usually I just yell at people, so there's that. This is the shifter, which is also a Shimano shift system. I'm going to take that off. I got to tighten this all up, but if you look at it, there's 6 gears that controls the back. So if you push this, that makes the back gear switch from harder to lighter, which, like any bike, it's just going to make it easier to go up a hill if you have it in a smaller gear to, you'll turn your pedals faster. Of course, if you're in the electric mode, it helps the motor not wear as much either, going up the hill using less electricity. So this one right here, I could have this backwards. One might be up, one's down, but one puts it forward and back. One puts it into a higher gear and one puts it down. This is the thumb throttle right here. And so regardless of whether you're using the pedal assist or not, if I'm looking at a hill or I'm just riding and I want to keep my feet still, I don't have to pedal. I can just push this thing down like that and it'll take off, like that one almost tried to do. So not every bike has that. Some are pedal assist only. Some are like a moped where they're the throttle, like this. So that's a real nice feature to have. The hydraulic brakes also, they have a little thing in here, and I'm not sure exactly where it is, but when you squeeze this brake, anytime you squeeze it, it'll shut the battery off. Not the battery, but the motor. So if somebody's coming at you, the motor won't keep torquing while you're trying to stop the brake. As soon as you press it, the motor stops. Then once you turn the wheels again or you use the thumb throttle, they start back up. So all in all, this bike is on their website. Once again, it's called the Revolve. And the guy's name is Tony. He's a small shop, but he does have bike dealers across America that he sends these to, and they work with him. But you can go direct online and talk to him. Tell him I said, hey, maybe he'll give you a little bit of a discount. I don't know. I'm not getting paid. You know, but this bike goes for about $1,900 on the discount. That includes shipping right to your door. You know, when it comes, you'll have to put on the front tire. You'll have to put on the handlebars, which is, you know, basically 4 little nuts under here, and then the 2 nuts down there. So you put on these 4 nuts, sit on it, put the handlebars where you want them, tighten them up. It comes with actually with a little tool that has Allen wrenches, so you don't have to have all the Allen wrenches to do it, which is nice. The little toolkit did not come with a wrench for the nuts on the wheels, but you can just use a, you know, an open-ended wrench, crescent wrench, or if you have a wrench set, would be better, a box wrench. I did, when I opened it up, it did have this little dent in the fender, and it had a little scratch. I talked to Tony about it. He said, don't worry, he's, you know, finding a solution to take care of that for me. So that's really nice of him. And I like the bike a lot so far, so I'm going to do a couple more videos of this when I'm riding it. You know, and I'll tell you how it does up and down the hills, and the 3-way, you know, 3-mile trip back and forth. You know, when I get my little rack that I'm going to put on it to, you know, go get milk and eggs and that kind of stuff, so I don't have to take the beast of a van every time I go out and at 10 miles to the gallon. But the little bit of riding I've done has been really smooth and nice. It's comfortable. It's got power to get me up and down the hills. And I mean, that's a small hill right over there that you're looking at, but there's big ones around here. You know, well, if you look right over there, there's, you know, just imagine roads going up and down those. So not like they are up north, granted, but you know, they're still big, and for a heavy guy, I've had no problem going up these hills. Oops. Guess I shouldn't try to drive with one hand and film. There, I get both my feet on. So you can see these kind of hills. Right now I'm going about 20 miles an hour, 22 miles an hour. See that? I'm gonna use my pedal, so I can just use my thumb, so I don't have to use my pedal all the way. I'll slow down here. So these are the kind of hills I got, and as you can see, I go plenty fast up and down these hills. Trying to drive with one hand and film, my first time ever. Okay. See, my thing just kicked in and I'm pedaling. Let's see what this hill takes. Now, I'm moderately pedaling. I mean, I'm not killing myself. The bike is doing most of it. I'm at 21 miles an hour going up this hill. If I hit the full throttle, I'm going to maintain about 19.5, so I was helping a little, not a whole lot. The seat right here does adjust. It's a quick connect. You just undo this, pull it, and this seat will go way higher. I have short little legs, so that's why it's short. But it's a pretty good sized bike. Even though it's a metal alloy, which I think it has some kind of steel and aluminum, I'm really not sure. It's heavy. It's about 68 pounds. So that would be heavy in the bike world, but in the electric bike world, you know, that's not bad. That's about typical. So you have all that power to help you. When you use the key to take that battery pack off, it comes with a charger, and you just plug the charger into this little slot that I showed you on the other side over here. And the charger has a red light on it that'll come on, and when the red light turns green, you're done charging, and you do want to unplug it after you charge. You don't want to, you know, leave it charging all the time. Just plug it in when it turns green after 7 hours or whatever it is. You know, unplug it. So on these forks right here, the suspension, I can actually turn this knob and it'll lock the suspension in place where it won't move. Okay, which is okay if you're on flat grounds and all that. But if you want to go off on a little trail or something, you know, I'd leave that so it dampens some of the jolts on that tire when you hit a pothole or something like that. You know, if you've ever ridden a motorcycle, or if you're older like me and ridden a motorcycle, you know your hands get tired or if they start getting numb. You don't want to put the death grip on these handlebars. You just want to kind of lay your hands on, and especially if you've got this down and you're under the power and it's going 12 miles an hour, you don't really have to turn. You just kind of press a little bit and the bike will veer that way, and press on the other side, it'll veer that way. So you don't need a death grip, you know. Once you get used to it, just, you know, be ready to do something. The only other tip I can give you, if you buy one, once it comes to your door, you got to put it together. Like I said, you'll have to put the handlebars on, you'll have to put the front tire on, and then you'll need to go through with that tool they give you and adjust all your brakes. I haven't even adjusted the brakes, not meaning tightness, meaning, you know, pick them up a little, put them down, move the handle back and forth. I'm going to switch this brake lever over to the side it should be on, because I want my front brake on the right and trying to put it on the left. You know, you'll have to snug everything up. If you're not mechanical, you can just take it to a bike shop, say, hey, look, go through it, tune it up, and they'll actually adjust the brakes if they need them. They'll move your levers where you want. You know, you can move this little thing back and forth so you get a better angle on that computer. You know, there's not much, it's not rocket science, it's not hard. The hardest thing on this bike to put on it is the fender, which is already installed. Now that front fender you do have to put on, but that's not a big deal. It's just basically this nut comes out, you slide the fender up, and you put the nut through the light post and the two little fender posts and tighten it up. And then you can just kind of, once you get it in place, kind of wiggle it so it's straight and tighten it more, and you're good to go. You know, the chain's already on, the derailleur's already on, the back tire's already on, everything is on. You may want to adjust your seat either up and down or back and forth. So there's a nut under here, which you loosen up and you can push it back and forth, and that'll help you. And there's also, this is on a swivel, so it can go up and down like that. So you have the post up and down, you have back and forth, and then you have level, so this isn't up in your crotch, you know, but you don't want it too far down, you don't want to be sliding. But, you know, you'll mess with that a little bit, you know, just like when you're a kid. Get your seat ready, get your handlebars ready, and once you charge that battery, you're ready to cruise, people. So with that, I hope you enjoyed it. Hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, go to Tony's link that I'll have in the description. Call Revolve up. He's a real nice guy. So far he's done everything he said he's going to do. He's got reasonable priced bikes. You know, this bike, like I said, it's got upgraded seats, it's got upgraded leather grips, it's got upgraded hydraulics, it's got upgraded suspension. You know, it's got a bigger battery pack. I'm pretty pleased so far, so I'll make more videos and we'll take it from there. So have a great day. Hit that like button, ask me something in the comments, and hit that subscribe button. And if you really want to help me out, go to my Amazon link and buy anything you want on Amazon, and it doesn't cost you any more money, but I get a little commission because, you know, I gotta pay to charge the batteries up. All right, guys, thanks. Bye.